In January of '68 was the first time that in a combat situation, I was wounded for the first time. The gentleman in front of me set off a tripwire, which is a booby trap connected to a hand grenade, and took two of my men out, and I was wounded. I was sent off to the 3rd Field Hospital in Saigon, and was spending a few days there recuperating from the wounds, and that's when it hit the fan during the Tet Offensive. It was really it was really unbelievable because we weren't expecting that. It was supposed to be a big ceasefire, and here I am in the 3rd Field Hospital, and with a couple other guys from my unit that were wounded that day, and they got us dressed up in these funny-looking white gowns, and we were watching outside the windows on the 2nd floor of the hospital. We watched fireworks turn to red and green tracers, and we're going, what the hell was that? What's going on? I mean, you know, and then we heard off in the distance toward Townsend Air Base, we can hear the mortars coming in, and about that time, just all hell broke loose. People were running around the 3rd Field Hospital. They had very few guards there. We had no weapons. We didn't know what was going on. Luckily, as things started going, I remember an officer come running through and said, "Is there any walking wounded? Can anyone help us out here?" And a couple of us guys, "Yeah, absolutely, not a problem. You know, we're infantry grunts. We're the badasses of the world." They only had a limited number of M16s available. A couple officers had 45s. A couple MP guards were there. And that was it for the whole hospital. And we just told them, hey, we need to get out of these white outfits. We're like sitting ducks. So we managed to get down to the basement and rattled around through, different clothes that they had brought in, and they take your clothes from you and put you in these gowns. So we wound up with some tiger fatigues on, and a couple of us got our M16s. We only had a couple clips. That was it. That's all the ammo they had. And as we got to looking around, it was kind of ironic. We were watching some of the nurses and everything, and some of the doctors, especially toward the operating room. I watched them. They were making Molotov cocktails. And I'm thinking to myself, that's all you have here to protect yourself? Nobody expected this. There was another officer came by and said, put us in different positions around the hospital outside in the courtyard. And the hospital was fenced off. And I remember looking behind me, and there's an MP in there with an M60. I said, well, at least he's got some backup gun here. And I said, there's 4 of those guys. And someone turned to me and said, hey, Sarge. I said, what? He said, there's not 4 guys in that bunker. And I said, what? And there's just piles of sandbags. What do you mean? I said, I see him. Look again. And I got to looking, and they've got 4 helmets. Well, there was one person with the hard helmet on, and the other helmets were like on sticks with the M60 in the middle. And I'm thinking to myself, what is with this? What, are we going to fool these guys? Didn't work. The tough part that next day was the embassy had gotten hit, where the zappers got in there. And the tough part was I watched a 2.5-ton truck, deuce and a half, which we were in the back of the hospital, and watched a 2.5-ton truck pull into the hospital. And very vivid in my mind, they opened up the back end of it, and it's just piles of bodies, and they were all the security guards and MPs that were killed at the embassy. Tough day.